I'm in the end zone doing my thing. Made a promise to the city, go hard for that ring.
Welcome back, Molo Nation. It's game week again here in Sacramento. Our opponent this week, the Omaha Nighthawks. This game is a monster game for us and will have championship implications. On this episode of Inside the Mountain Lions, we're going to take a look at what it takes to feed a professional football team, talk to Coach Green about his game plan for Saturday, speak with the unsung warriors of the defensive line, and finally, see what it's like to be on a UFL sideline on game day. Cooking for a professional football team is like cooking for a small army. But every morning, the staff at the Arden Hilton does their best to cook the most important meal of the day for your Sacramento Mountain Lions. Let's take a look. Kelly is actually in charge of making sure our players eat properly every morning. So we're here checking it out. And so, Kelly, this seems like a lot of food. How many pounds of food do these guys eat?
They actually eat a lot of food. They eat like 150 eggs every day, 40 pounds of bananas. They eat 12 pounds of bacon, 8 pounds of sausage. I'm not sure on the waffles, but as you can see, they will go through this fruit in like the first half hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They eat a lot of fruit.
Special thanks to Kelly Patton, the banquet captain at the Arden Hilton, for letting us come over and bother her so early in the morning. Now, Coach Green knows how important this game is to this franchise, so let's get his thoughts on what it's going to take to beat this Nighthawks team. All right, Coach, so how important is this game against Omaha this weekend?
Well, I think it's crucial. I think we have another good crowd there. We played hard against Las Vegas, but now I think we have to get a chance to get ourselves a win. We've got Virginia 2 games after this, so the next 3 games are going to really be crucial, and 2 of the 3 are at home, so we need to really play well at home.
How about Ryan Colburn on Saturday? Were you impressed with him?
Ryan did some good things. I think none of the team played extremely well, but we're hoping to play a lot better. But he had a pretty good completion percentage. He had a couple touchdown passes, and I think for a first game in pro football, he did a pretty good job for himself.
Great. And how about the defense? What are the keys to victory this week?
Well, they play a lot of spread, and there's a lot of wide open, so we're going to have to really run. We have to use all the players. We're not going to be able to just substitute as much. We have to get on the field and they'll use some no-huddle also along with it. So the key will be being able to stay on your feet and chase the quarterback.
Looks like Coach Green has a game plan. This week, we have the opportunity to look at a certain player group here with the Sacramento Mountain Lions. We're going to feature the first line of defense. That's right, we're talking about the defensive line. The real challenge of being a defensive lineman comes in the close proximity to the offensive line. These boys have to read and react to a play that happens in seconds. In order to have a successful defensive lineman career, you have to have strength, quickness, and mental agility to be able to read the play in front of you as it develops in a very short time frame. Now this week, we're going to talk with Coach Carl Hairston, who is the coach of the defensive line for this year, and take a look at what it's going to take to beat these Omaha Nighthawks. I had the opportunity to get some first-hand coaching from this long-time and successful coach.
So everything I've talked about to do is game speed tempo. You always hear me say that. If a player's loafing, we're going to start to drill all over again because he has to play that way. You got to practice that way. If you practice that way, you're going to play that way. However you practice is how you're going to play. That's the old philosophy.
And in terms of the players that you have on the defensive line, that's what you look for in a player, is that hustle and that quickness and that tempo.
Sure, if I can get a guy to do that, I can teach him the rest. But sometimes in a player, he's got to have it himself. I can't constantly talk about tempo and all that stuff, but you want to play this game up front, you got to play fast and you got to play with tempo.
Got it.
That's the old school one.
Now, how about the one-on-one competition? In terms of beating that man in front of you.
Well, you got to go into a game or you got to go into practice with that mindset. But this defense is up front is built on aggression. Your job is to beat that guy in front of you, or beat whatever's coming at you. And we always talk about get up on the ball because you have to do that. We're not a read defense. We're aggressive defense up front. And what you see, you play it.
Gotcha.
Try to knock that guy's teeth out. It'll be my philosophy.
Nice. Now, in terms of a drill that maybe you guys are working on this week, or just something that's been important to the defense, you have something you can show me, maybe like a coaching tip for other football coaches?
Yeah, sure. Like the thing that we have to do as a defensive lineman is these. These are your weapons.
Right.
And if you use these on an offensive lineman, you're going to win every match. If you don't, you're going to lose them. Like some coaches teach playing with your shoulder, but I'm a firm believer if you make contact with your hands first. See, if you play with your shoulders, then the guy's going to lock up in you. If you play with your hands, my thing, I want to shock him, and where my gap is, I want to shed the guy.
Okay.
away from my gap.
Okay, so hands are real key.
Hands is the key when playing defensive line.
Okay.
If
Do you have
don't-
something we can work on?
Yeah, well, he can show you, George can show you.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna get out of here. Let George do that.
Okay.
Well, first of all, what we want to do is what we call hugging the ball. We scoot up real close to the ball. We want to get off on the ball. First thing we want to do is explode the leverage, shock, and then we back into our gap.
Okay.
So that's what we really want to do, guys. We want to just focus on using our hands. And if the offensive lineman, say he's the offensive lineman, he want to get his hands into us. We want to grab wrist, pop the elbow to go away from him. And so those are some short things that we work on. Or else if we get into him, our lineman fire out, we want to side settle, knock the hands down, so we continue to push up into our gaps.
Okay. Got it. So it's really about getting those hands off.
Really
you
about
and-
your hands.
And that quickness there.
Man with the great hands will always win.
Okay. Cool. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a UFL sideline? Well, Inside the Mountain Lions takes you there with some close-up footage from Game 1.
Number 20, that's 28, 29, 30, 31 off ball, 33, 35, 36.
Thanks so much for joining us, Mountain Lions fans. We look forward to the weeks ahead. I'm Nick Cronenwet. Be sure to leave your thoughts on Facebook.
Got a long ride home. Stand up now, let me hear you scream. Game on the line, I don't see the other team. Worked all summer cause my city won a ring. I ain't worried about second, yeah, that's for the other team. Zach, stand up now, let me hear you scream. Game on the line, I don't see the other team. Worked all summer cause my city won a ring. I ain't